Hello, everyone. This is Dr. J. I'm the host of the Sexuality Space. Welcome to our live event today. My co host, Misha Elliott, who's usually silent, will not be silent today. So I'm excited that she'll be here taking in this conversation with us one on one. As everyone gathers into the live space, I wanted to share some information for those listening to the replay. The Sexuality Space is live every Wednesday, noon Eastern Time on Twitter. And I have worked to create a sex positive community where we can talk about different sex topics. We've been meeting CEOs of sex companies, talking with sex educators and researchers, as well as sexuality writers. And I work to integrate sexuality every day uh, in life by being seen in the daylight right here doing my work. So I welcome you all. And as a reminder, this is a recorded space which will live on Twitter timeline and be repurposed on my website, my Flogen playlist, and on YouTube. And I see that Misha has arrived. I have given her co-host status. Hello, Misha. I can't hear you. If your mute button is on, we might have to test this out. I wanted to tell everyone that we have a space that is equipped with its own chat feature that's in the bottom right hand corner, so you can ask space questions as the space goes on. Last week, we talked about sexual alignment, and this week, we're going to be discussing my Black Friday offer for the Purple Reflection Sex Deck for women, the course, and the community. So let's see what's going on here. Hey, Alex, it's good to see you. I'm trying to see if I can get Misha in here for talking. I don't see her sending me any messages, so I'm hoping that she'll be able to hop in. I was excited today that she would be the guest and that we would be having lots of interesting conversation, that she is in a space where she can talk today, but I'm not seeing anything happening here. So one of the things that I wanted to do is to, she says it's broken on her side. Well, this is exciting. Maybe you need to go out and come back in, and we'll work from that direction. Can you hear me? Can you do a thumbs up? Alex, if you can hear me, can you do a thumbs up? Okay, well, let me move along here. Today, the conversation is specifically about the Purple Sex Reflection Deck for women. And one of the things that has gone on, if you see me there, I'm not there. Well, I see you there, Misha. So you're rebooting your phone. Okay. Alex, thank you. I see a 100, so I know that you're hearing what's going on here. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about how this entire process happened, the energy behind it, why I focus so specifically on women, and some interesting things about how this process happened when other processes have definitely not been as fast in the creation process as this particular product has been. So to start with, everybody asks why purple. Well, first of all, you know that purple is my branding color. And besides being my favorite color and my branding shade, it does represent something unique and rare. And so historically, purple dye was expensive and exceptional. And it was, a thing that royalty was noted for. And if we look at the combination of red, the passion color, blending with blue, the calming color, the resulting purple integrates those attributes. And why wouldn't anybody want to claim that in sex? It's this great mixture of passion for sex and calm for awareness, so that you can get what you're looking for, pay attention to what you're looking for, and that sort of thing. Hi, Ramon. Hi, Ashish. It's interesting. Misha is having some issues on her side, and we'll see what's going on. And thank you, Alex, for your message on Happy Thanksgiving. People's rituals, well, generally it's about food, family, fun. And in that direction, it's going to be the quietest Thanksgiving I've had in a long time. It'll just be me and my partner here because we're going to be spending the holidays in December out of state with my family. And so we're putting all of our big time and energy into that direction. But at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'll be making a very interesting cranberry relish to go with the turkey and dressing and green beans and yams and that sort of stuff that the two of us will be eating tomorrow. So that's kind of the plan, and we'll see how that goes. Um, I tell you, I'm getting different messages today in the space. I see where I have a request. I have no access to get to a request. So clearly, Twitter is doing some interesting and fun things for us today. And Misha said that she's rebooting her phone. I have no idea if she's made it back in here. Um, so anyway, with the idea for this particular deck of cards, I guess there have been several things that came into play for how this started. Okay, let's see. Misha has. Uh, okay, now I have her in here twice. This is great. I'm going to add her as a co-host. Misha, you are added. I see you there. Hopefully, this is going to work. And yes, we do have bugs. So I've sent you the co-host invitation. And if you can't get that, I'll just do speaker and we'll go from that direction. And you're a listener. Okay, let's see how we can do this. Let me just invite to speak and see if you can get that.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. So, and your
Amazing.
co-host. Yes, welcome.
Ah, it took me 55 years to get here, but here I am.
Well, as I said to everyone, you're the guest. So I'm really excited that I get to spend this whole time chatting with you about this process and for us to discuss all the fun things that have gone on in the creation and what we have done together in this process because you have been there every step of the way. You know what my thinking has been about this and putting it together, so it makes it really cool. And what people in the audience may not know is that I'm sitting here with my purple deck in my hand, and I know that you're sitting there with your purple deck in your hand. So I think that'll give you, extra incentive to be able to hold that energy and have a conversation here. Now I know,
Yay!
oh, you did, you put some stuff up in the nest. I'm like, yeah,
I,
okay.
I, I'm, I'm trying. I'm hoping it's working. I'm just putting stuff up there, hoping it takes.
Well, the
Mm.
last tweet that you put in the nest is something that we've been laughing about this morning. It has nothing to do with purple sex, but it's really cool. So you have to see this woman pole dancing, and it won't be anything like you expect. And it's a really wow proposition. So that's the third tweet up in the nest there. You'll get a kick out of that. It's very, very, very creative. So I enjoyed that. So, Misha, I was saying that, the reason for purple was the blending of the energy of passion with red and the energy of blue with calming, and those two things come together. And that, I see so many women get shortchanged in their education about sexual health and wellness and their own relationship with their bodies, and when they choose to share that with another person, what that relationship is like. And I didn't want to be quiet about it, and um, I wanted to have a way that people could have a tool that would allow them to stop, pause, think about, create space to allow sexuality into their life. So that was kind of the beginning part of what this has to do with. So you were there from the beginning. How do you see this product being hatched?
Donna's got another crazy idea, and I'm going to let her run with it after I ask her where she's going to find the time for it.
Well, it's funny. I don't think there seemed to be a time issue for this one. I don't think I have ever had a project, I don't know, except Ramon, maybe day before yesterday when that story just boom came out of me and I had it done in less than 24 hours. So that part's pretty interesting. Sometimes the energy accelerator is just wow. And when it happens, you just go with it. And I think that's what this process had to do with. After that point where I said I have this idea, what was it like watching the process unfold?
Uh, Honestly, it was pretty invigorating. It was inspiring. I was like, this is really cool what you're creating here, and it kind of made me wonder what I could create for a card deck eventually someday, maybe.
Oh, I love it. And I think that is what the energy has to do with when creative energy flows out of us and you can feel it in a real palpable way. Then other people, it's like it's sticky, it's gluey, it feels good, and you can, get that into your space and it causes interesting things to happen. And I think you were just so supportive about the fact that I was at the top of a mountain where all of this was happening in the Great Smokies, and I had barely any internet. And this idea was like, keep going back outside. You have more information that you need to deal with. And it really felt like a magical adventure deep in the woods. And I think growing up on the farm and spending so much time outside as a child that there's always been energy around heights and mountains, around brooks and streams. And, for me, it was tapping back into a definite physical place in my body where my feet felt like maybe they had tendrils of roots and I was tapping into the earth and the soil and felt energy coming directly from that into me. And I think that was, for doing the work that I do, has always been a holistic component about sexuality, where I'm talking about the physical body, the emotions that we have, the mental processes, and the messages that we've been given and the messages that we hold on to, and then where that spirituality fits, that really is a holistic component. And when one of those areas get out of balance in sexuality, everything kind of gets out of balance. And one of the things that I was thinking about while being on this particular trip was, um, I think over the last couple of years related to COVID, that all of us have gotten into different life rituals and routines that may not have been as supportive to maybe our creativity. Maybe, we were having one area work more than another area because I know my mind was really going, but, I was not outdoors as much as I had been historically. So I think some of this was tapping back in for me, that I went on a purple sex adventure where I was looking at what my emotions were. I was looking at what the spiritual nature and connection that I had with what was going on for me. And it really meant everything to me, Mish, that you were there so I could say, when I had internet, that I could say, this is what's going on. These are the things that I'm thinking about and the directions that I want to go. And it's kind of cool to have created the pathway to take a look at the journaling that I did while it was happening, to say this happened first and then this happened second, and the evolution, even the cards and the pictures and our conversations, about how we were going to do this and what was going to happen. Is there any one moment in the process of creation that surprised you or got you laughing really hard?
I mean, it was just magical, to be honest. It was like I watched it unfold, and I wish that I had physically been there to see it unfold, because I if we could bottle what you felt up there, we would just have to keep it for ourselves. I don't know if I would want to share it. I don't think too many people in the world could handle that kind of enormous creative magic that hit you on the mountain and just said, "Here, do this, do it now, do it well." And you know what? It found the right person, that's for sure. I'm like, "How are you
Oh,
going to do this?" And you're like, "Oh, I bought a book." And I'm like, "You're in the middle of nowhere on a mountain and you were able to Amazon Prime a book?"
I know,
Yeah.
it's like the only thing that happened. And it is, I think about synchronicity and I think about all of the things that come together for what creative ideas have to do with. And, you more than most know what my coffee cabinet looks like with every piece of
Hmm.
pottery that's in the house. And I think about how much things like putting clay in my hands and having the sensations about that, or walking by particular vines and going, I could pull these vines out and I could make this really interesting basket in this direction. So it's always been about looking at the things that are around me and how I can tap into that energy and make something out of nothing. For some of you may not know that I'm an avid knitter, and it's always been two sticks and a piece of thread, and what can I create when those three things get together? And Misha will tell you I make pretty decent socks because I know she has them on her feet. And so it's part of that process that you just have to stay aware and observant to the things that are around you that are providing you specific messages, really, really tailored for you. But you have to be open and paying attention to what they have to do with. And I think for my time in work with complementary and alternative medicine in the early 2000s, that a lot of that information really helped me in this process. Angeles Arian, who is a cross-cultural anthropologist who's no longer with us, but she wrote this great book called The Fourfold Way. And in that direction, it's something, that ties together that physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, that we're dealing with it from the earth, the water, the air, and the fire, and that those elements have meaning to help us with that particular energy. So one of the things that I'm really excited about for the course that's part of the offer here is that I'm working specifically to have meditations to go with these particular cards. And the meditations align with the four elements. So for the air element, the mind, you have a standing meditation. And um, for the earth um, element, you have a lying meditation. And for the water element, you have a sitting meditation. And then for
Oh,
the, yes, for the,
you mean it's not a soak in the tub meditation?
well, I guess you could have that as the lying meditation. We could have that going on in the process. That would be pretty interesting. And one of my favorites is the walking meditation, which is fire. That's the, connection in the process. So these are physical ways to get in touch with your body in those particular elements and tie that directly to sexuality. So I'm really excited about how those correlations are going to go and how that's put together. And I think that, you know, we spend an awful lot of time in writing talking about where are your worksheets, where are your checklists, how do you, know that you've covered this, that, or the other, or being clear about the points that you want to bring forward in that. And I was thinking that for a lot of people, they don't know how to take the information of sexuality apart so that they can look at it in different ways. And so that was one of the reasons with this particular deck that it has 9 sexuality components. So they are body image, fantasy, desire, sexual orientation, gender, sexual behaviors, self-intimacy, sensuality, and pleasure. And those are areas that a lot of people never get a chance to stop and to assess and figure out the 4 element components about them in relation to those particular areas. And as a former sex therapist, it's always interesting to see that people don't know how to do that because they haven't been given tools and information to assist them in that process, and then be able to have clear communication about what those things meant for them and how that's important. So most of you who know me, and Mish, you'll be laughing about this, I'm always about, you have to do the work first. If you don't do the work first, nobody else can take what you have to give, because you have to be clear about what that is. Hi, Angel. I see you just popped in here. Hi, Candace. So anyway, I was going to give you the lovely opportunity, Misha, of asking me some questions.
Ask you some questions. What's
About
your what's your favorite card in the entire deck? I know that's a difficult question, but I'm going to make you answer it anyway.
okay, well, wait a
You
minute.
should know better.
Well, you know what's really cool about that, though? You know, this is my IT graphics designer, everything person asking me this question. So I want y'all to be clear that this project, this 100% project, I'm the one who created all of it. And she sat there
She
going,
did
uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
100%.
So for you to ask me that question, I'm gonna have to sit here and flip through the cards, because I really worked while in those mountains to align the notion of women of all types and all walks in the world, for how they would have the experience. And you know, it's funny, I sit here and I go, well, I'm clear about the elements, and I'm looking at the 5 energy surge cards, and I felt like, you know, what they represented. But I'm sitting here going, you know, one of my favorite cards, I don't know how to say it's the favorite, but clearly one of my favorite must have to do with you in the bathtub, Misha. But it's the my sexuality card, that's the basis for self-intimacy, that says, I honor my sexual self with love, kindness, compassion, and exploration. And the picture is a close-up in a tub of a woman with beautiful dark skin and soapy water over her legs and hands. And it's such a um, clear moment about, I'm in touch with myself. The way that she has her hands on her knees, you know, you have that experience of, then what would it be like to feel those fingers go over the skin? What messages would she be taking from an exploration that she might be doing about herself? Or even the fact that she allowed the time to have the bath and to say, this is me time. This is something that's going to feel good for me. So that's one of my favorites. What's one of yours?
Well, I'm going to add this tweet to the nest and I want you to look at it.
Okay, I'm going to that. See, I love how we have all this interactional stuff. Let me go to,
And of
are
course,
you,
I put WQS instead of WAS, my stupid phone keyboard.
well, yes, that's the card I was looking at. Dun, da, da,
hmm
da.
I was
Yes.
I was just, going. I wasn't even going through them card by card. I was literally just not shuffling, but a handful of cards, flip it to the bottom, another handful of cards, and then I take the top card off as you start saying about the bathtub, and I'm like, this is the card she's looking at.
And that's perfect. And it's, you know, it's really
It's
interesting.
magic.
It is magic. We have a magic deck here. You know, the other thing that's interesting too, in terms of holistic, you know, I think about tying all 4 of those: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual together. I think circular, and I think a beginning, a middle, and an end, like a ring, like something with a motion to it. And even though these cards are rectangle, and even though the emblem identifies petals of the different layers of the 9 topics that we're talking about in this, I think being on the mountain in creation of this kept me in this larger space for how to bring an every woman feeling into the pictures that I chose. And that's the thing that's interesting about this deck, is that I wanted to use real people pictures, that they are not cartoon pictures. They are pictures that I feel like depict women in some of their best and most wondrous notions of who they are. Does that come across when you look at the deck, Mish?
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, because I mean, just looking through it, it makes me feel like I could know these people.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, go
I
ahead.
think my favorite card is going to be the fantasy. I write my erotic mental energy, or I'm sorry, I can't see in here today. Mm, I invite my erotic mental energy to support me on my sexual journey.
Yeah,
I
I
think
like
that
that.
one's my favorite. I like it because she's got the veil
Uh-huh.
a little bit. So it's kind of like you see me, but you don't see all of me unless you earn the right to see all of me.
Yeah, and it's like I always look when I'm looking for inspiration for writing. I look for pictures that have more information than just what the picture is. And sometimes that's how the photographer has captured a specific moment that not everybody else saw. And they were able to just pull it down. And I think that picture that you're talking about, and I guess you might have to take a picture there and put it up in the nest too, but that picture, to me, the way the eyes are focused out looking at you, I mean, they're giving you this message that you just said. I invite my erotic mental imagery to support me on my sexual journey. The eyes are coming right out at you as you're reading that particular statement. And I think another part of this for me was wanting to feel like women were empowering other women in the process of the journey of their sexuality. And so that was really important for me to see how all of these different things could be depicted in many areas, in many levels, in many directions. So I was pretty excited about that.
Funny because I was doing the tweet, but I hit X instead of C in my hashtag. So, you know how it is today. I can't type today.
Well, it's funny. You're also typing and talking at the same time, which is not what you
Hey,
typically
hey,
do.
I know I am one of the few people that I know. I have had people tell me at work they could never type and talk to somebody. I can literally keep typing as long as it's free flowing, like an email or something that I'm not copying. I can look at the person, I can have the conversation with them and continue typing whatever it is I'm doing. I have that, I can split my concentration pretty good. My multitasking skills are monumental.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you had asked me about favorite cards, and I was just thinking that in the energy surges, there are 5 cards in that area. And I really wanted, we spend so much time focusing on what's a deficit that I really wanted to focus on where strengths were. And so we can blow life into areas and create more strength. Or maybe somebody hadn't noticed that they had a strength in that particular area. So one of the cards that I have is called the Wild Woman, and the Wild Woman is essentially the woman. It is you. If you're looking at that card, it is the essence of who you are in your raw state form, and how to tap into that kind of energy to get answers for yourself. About your sexuality. And so I like the picture. It's a woman holding a mirror. It's a reflection of her seeing herself, seeing who she is in the process. And if we all could hold mirrors up and see ourselves in those different ways, and in a lot of ways we talked past, I was trying to think, I don't know when that was, when we talked about the movie Leo Grand.
Hmm.
And Emma Thompson talked about how we can get to a neutral gaze. I think I look at that particular energy surge where this woman is just with herself. She is just there in that particular moment. There isn't any judgment, there isn't any shame. She is just assessing who, where, and what she is in that particular moment.
And I just added her to the nest. She should pop up shortly.
She should pop up there. Well, there she is. Well, we are at the actual halfway point of our discussion on the Purple Sex card deck. And, I'm loving that my regulars here, Angel and Alex and Ramon. So if any of y'all want to ask any questions, feel free to hop on up here and join in this conversation. It's funny, I have found that since we've had different Twitter magic going on, that we've had many less people coming to spaces. So that's been kind of interesting, and don't know what the algorithm or any of that has to do with, but I'm always delighted to see the folks that have been supporting me in this endeavor. And I'm curious if other folks want to take the mic, I would love to hear how you think this is going to be helpful to anyone that you might suggest would be a recipient of checking out the cards. Misha, I love seeing your finger holding the cards. That's a great picture you just took. I love it. I love it. Well, I think that when I look at, the energy surges. Oops,
Hmm.
I have a request. Are you taking it in?
I hit it. I approved it. Whether it works or not, I couldn't tell you.
It worked. It worked. Hey, Ramon.
Well, I guess afternoon, ladies, from your time zone. I just pause for a minute. I am on that gerbil wheel of pre-holiday activity, but I did want to say, um, I, you dealt with the unfortunate issue of a co-writer or editor and a project a book you were working on, and so there was that, and then there's all the other blossoming of your world that's been going on the last couple of years. So, in that respect, it didn't surprise me that this bloomed out of your heart and soul as it did, and I'm really grateful. As you know, I have gifted a person with the course. The timing could not be any better. So even there, the universe was saying this needs to happen. I am waiting. Once you make the card decks alone available, there's another special person that I feel is just going to greatly appreciate everything this contains
Well,
in dealing with
and
their world. Yeah.
I can tell you, let me see where Mish has that up there. Because you're in here, I can actually say aloud, it is available that you could purchase separately from the offer.
Oh, interesting. Well, then I will go back and find that and get that for them. Yeah.
It is, I'm trying to think, it's, if you, hang on a second, I'll go to my website so I can tell you exactly where it's sitting on there, unless Misha remembers it off the top of her head. I've been through so many pages this morning, I'm like,
Um,
well, which page that's sitting on?
it's sitting on, if you go to the home page and click sneak peek or see more or learn more,
Which
uh,
homepage?
My website
Dr. J
homepage.
Okay.
author.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
And I think it's,
And purple sex card sneak peek, and I want to buy,
Okay.
which I will
That's
tweet
fine.
the link so
oh
that
yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's on the purple sex card page at
Okay.
the bottom underneath the exclusive offer. I went ahead and listed the location for purchasing the deck.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, then I'll follow that. That sounds great.
Yeah, lovely.
All
Well,
right.
I'm excited that synchronicity is happening. And sometimes, again, it's that being open direction that you were paying attention to something that you knew would be helpful to someone in your life. So I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to meeting her and seeing how we can continue a community and do some really cool things together.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so one person is in their 60s and the other person is in their 20s, and I have no doubt this will be great for both.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm really excited to hear that. So I'm curious, how did you explain this as a gift?
Well, so for the younger person, I have not. I just want to wait till I could get it, and I have, this is a person that I am somewhat related to, and she has dealt with um, trying to find herself and who she truly is amidst an unsupportive environment in some ways, and a
Mhm.
confusing world. So she is finally, over the last couple years, she has really fallen into her own and starting to really feel empowered just to be her. So I think this could really, really help her in her journey. Um, and so I didn't tell her. I just, hey, I thought about you. This is what it is. I'd like to give them to you. If it doesn't play, pass them on to someone who you think it might. But I sense it's going to be very meaningful to her, at least, for the cards. And then if she decides to do the course or anything, I'll leave that up to her. The other one, I will tell you that this year the entire year or more has been a very interesting struggle, uh, journey, whatever you want to call it. The short story is that um, I had a heart to heart with my partner, and um, we covered a lot of things. There's been a lot of hours, a lot of tears, a lot of laughing. Um, to decide if we really do have a future with each other. Um, and the end result has been the best relationship we've had in 45 years um, going forward. And that we think we have a common ground to walk hand in hand into. So there's been a lot going on in my world, especially over the last few months. And
Wow. Tell
I have, I continue to clearly communicate. Um, Life has to have meaning and purpose, and that I'm going all out for us to remain. But if that doesn't happen, then I want her to move forward into her best life. So, and as such, um, she has, I've initiated things, and then she has um, excitedly done things like subscribe to Rosie and all that information. And then there's this, and it's like, I said, I would like to offer this to you, and she was very excited. So yeah,
Wow.
it'll be very interesting. But I expect, like I said, that she is. I'm confident that just continued growth and awareness of who she is and her world, and then we'll just take it from there.
Well, that's really something, Ramon. And it takes courage. It's has a fear component, whether you acknowledge it or not, to say, are things going to change? If they are, which direction they're going to go in? But if you're taking that foot forward in that strength and meaning, like you're talking about, then only good things are going to come from that, and whatever the outcome is. And I think the interesting part that for women that I've talked to about this who've seen the cards, And so I've had a lot of women on the island here parading through the house. I had the cards laid out on the floor so people could come in and make comments. And the overwhelming comment has been about warmth, understanding, connectedness, and women supporting women. And I think for you to be able to stand in a position where you can support someone to help them get to where they want to be in their best self, and then sharing occurs after that, that's like the best world that you can be in.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
And thanks for sharing all that. It's great. Misha, are you back? Misha got a phone call she had to take. So did you have any question that you wanted to ask about the deck specifically, since I have it here in my hot little hands, and do you want to know something?
Well, I love the cards that she put up in the nest. No, I've zoomed in on little peaks you've put up there here and there. So no, I have complete trust and confidence in what's behind all this. So nope, no problem.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I have to tell you that I have had two men that came into the house and looked at the cards and said, "Where are mine?"
And my first thought is, can we talk about this? Is it politically and socially okay to even talk about what that is?
Well, it's definitely interesting. And, my life has been about walking many lines between sexuality as a whole and how it fits for individual people, whether the people comes in this body or that body or whatever body it comes in for them, how to help get in that direction. And I think that it could be done from a masculine energy direction, just like this is done from a feminine energy direction. And so, you know, I don't know if that will be on my particular roadmap. It may inspire someone else to create something in that world. I'm on the downhill side of this. This is year 66. So it's like I'm really focused on which items are hyper important to me and the ones that I want to get out there. So it may be somebody else's turn.
Well, it may be, and it's clearly, I would hope, would be received just as lovingly as these are. There's definitely a need for people that uh, are willing to be vulnerable and partake in this. But I'm right behind you, my friend here. I'm just a tick behind you in the March Through Life age. So let's there's all as I told people talk about how what my life is like and the activities and such, and they say, "Don't you want to just chill for a while?" I said, "At some point, I'll be 6 feet under. I got plenty of time to chill
Yeah,
then."
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And it's interesting. Alex, I'm looking at all your messages. Yes, yes, yes. I'm loving socks, and I understand about the visual part. And there was a component. I know that Ramon had asked me about this earlier on about some braille kinds of things, and it's interesting. You know, from a pricing point perspective to try to get things out. It's been interesting to work this and see what's been available and what I can use. But I'm glad you're supporting me, and I understand that you have a lot going on in your life, and I'm just glad that you're here with me having this conversation. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about with this particular thing today is about the offer of community that comes with this exclusive offer. So when someone purchases the offer, they're going to get the card deck directly from me. They're going to get a purple notebook. They're going to get a purple pen. They're going to get a certificate that puts them as a legacy member of the community that I'm building on the private platform on Circle. And what's been really interesting is what is so different about Circle. And I got to test this out yesterday because I got to have a private um, stream event with
Telling
Misha.
all our secrets now.
Well, people probably know we do lots of private things. And one other person, how's that? Misha and me and one other person, so we could see where the privacy level was. And we all had different website things up so we could say, okay, we're in this space in this private secret location. Does anybody know we're in here? And so that was the really cool part, that it's all within the platform of this community. And depending upon how I set particular functions, and Ramon, since people may know that you are a Rosie writer, you're going to be part of the secret group for Rosie erotica writers. And actually, I probably ought to go ahead and send you the link so we can you can be playing in there and seeing seeing that I don't have anything set up other than a beautiful banner and that sort of information, but you can start seeing how the setup works. It's visually a lot like Facebook, except that the platform that I create is structured however I choose to put the structure together. And so that's been fun talking to Misha, going, okay, I want to do this. What do you think? So maybe instead of, if you would do like a post, maybe it would be done in list format, or maybe it would be done only in card format with a picture. So you're thinking about the different things of how people would receive that information and the best way to structure it. And as a member of the Circle community, I get to meet with other Circle platform creators and see how they have accessed their community and how they're focusing on it. So it's like I'm getting all of this great information from people who've been there before me. And the community part, I've been spending a lot of time with Jocelyn Mane and Kimberly K. Scott, and I have been in Jocelyn's community on Circle for the last year. And so I have a notion of how it works from the business standpoint and creating paywalls and that sort of thing. But the community aspect is what is really neat, that you have there is no distraction from anything else that's going on in the world. You only go to that community and you look at all the materials that have been put together. You have access to create the course specifically in the community, and everything can be gated. Only people who pay for something get into a particular area. I am setting it up so that it is an open community when you go into it. And in that open community, I'll have a welcome, and then I'll have sexuality resources. And so it would be like coming here to the sexuality space where I might have website information all in one place, that people can have resources and that sort of thing. But then everything else is going to be private communities that are topic specific. So only women in purple sex will be in the women in purple sex area, and only Rosie writers will be in the Rosie writers area, and they don't cross paths. Nothing will be seen in the other directions. So let's see here. Alex is asking me a question. If you get access to the creators of people on Circle, can you make sure that they all include staff that make screen readers work well with the Circle stuff? I go to their office hours every week, Angel, and Alex, and I can definitely take a look at that. I know they have been, as any platform, building from the bottom up, just like Spaces. We've added more features and more features. They have their features laid out and being doled out for Q1, Q2, Q3, all of that for 2023. So I'll keep myself in line to make sure that they are aware of that, and see where that's going to go. Mish, you're back.
Yes, I am. Thank you for your patience.
No problem. No problem. So what else do you want to highlight about Circle, the course, the community? One of the things, and And Ramon, just so you are aware of this, I'm trying to think. I think if you go on that same page where we just said you can do the card ordering, I think I have a link there that you could go ahead and download a larger brochure than what comes with the card deck itself. And one of the things that Misha and I have been talking about and working with are, for a lot of people, using cards have been like oracle decks or tarot cards or reflection cards, and they like to create some kind of structure that's called a layout. And so one of the things that I did was to go ahead and create what some of those are, and to have people test out ways that might work for them to have that space to think about their sexuality today and how much time they want to put into it, and then how do they want to document that. And I think that the part that the course is really going to help with is tying more of the sexuality to the practice, so that my area of expertise will get to come in a little bit more than it has in the past. But it's also that place of sharing. So Misha will say, well, in the past, this is how I've used decks. And then we all hear, what she says. And then you pull a grain of wonderfulness from that and say, wow, I hadn't thought about this, but I could put this together this way and create this. And I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to about the community, because I love to see how information gets sparked back and forth. What about you, Mish?
I'm just, I'm actually looking at it and I'm trying to think of different things that we can add, and some of the stuff is really weird because you had created it and made me a member and a moderator, and I'm like, well, why is this one telling me to join? So I joined it and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. There's a learning curve for me to circle, and eventually I will figure it out.
Well, and that's true for every single brand new thing we're doing, as well as me setting it up, going, well, I thought I set it up to do this and this, and you have to go test it and go, oh yeah, that's what it does. But go, wait, it has this slick hack that I could have done this, and Misha would have already been where she was supposed to be. But what do you think about card layouts? How do you see that working for this particular deck? Because I know you do a lot of different layouts.
I actually don't do layouts very often. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time I did an actual layout. Mostly if I'm having some kind of conundrum, I will shuffle and see what falls out of the deck. And that depends on, like, okay, it's one card. I'm not sure why it would give me this one. Then I'll shuffle some more and see what else falls out at me. I do that for other people as well. Like, my daughter didn't know what to do about something, so I pulled out a deck and I started shuffling it, and I said, "Okay, I need you to cut the deck, and then I need you to pull a card." And she's like, "I don't think that's how it works." And I was like, "Trust me, shuffle, cut, pull." And she did. And the card that she pulled basically told her she was right all along, that she was
I
doing exactly what she needed to do. And I was like, well, see, doesn't that just give you the confidence that the universe is behind you right now? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the process too, is that you pull one card and then you get that piece of information, and then you add something else to it, and you add something else to it, and you're creating a story. And at some point it brings the circle back around to, you go, okay, you
Hmm.
have all these things. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I have, when I buy a new deck, or I research it. I will look and see what the person who created the deck, has for the meanings of the cards. I will read the book. I will look at the layouts that they offer. And usually it's too much at once. I don't know how things interact. Like, it doesn't work for me. So I just do it however I feel I need to do it. And that's how I work with it.
Well,
And
that
I feel like that's something that everyone should learn. Okay, well, okay, I understand these layouts. I have issues with how they interact. I don't know how this links to that. But you know what? I know that if I do something like this other thing that I saw over here, that kind of gives me clarity that I'm looking for. You have to figure it out on your own. Decks are a tool, um, and you have to learn how they feel.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I created them in two different formats and ordered the first one, which you and I both got. We're holding the
Hmm.
first original deck that we created and we see what they feel like. And then I changed the paper and I changed the gloss and I ordered again. And Misha's going, well, you have to compare them together. And I'm sitting here with both card decks beside each other going, I am comparing them together. And the card stock didn't seem any different at all. But the glossy part, I had done glossy versus, I guess you'd call this matte. I'm not sure if you call that matte or not, but the glossy was really cool. I mean, it just it looked really cool. So it's interesting, thinking about how does all of this fit together and how does it make it um, inviting for someone to pick it up. And I've had several people pick up the cards and go, oh, I like the way this feels. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah, they are. You did something amazing here,
Oh,
and I just I love it so much. It's gonna go really well. I can't wait until the journal is out to go with them, and I can't wait to see what we do in the group.
me too. I'm really excited about that. And oh, and Ramon, I was coming to you because we got 5 minutes left and I wanted to see if you had anything else you wanted to add. So you've got the floor.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, I'm on the site. I see the card deck. You had mentioned some other kind of booklet or something. Nothing else is there but the card deck to purchase right now.
Okay.
There
Then it
are two other buttons below that. One says sign up for the newsletter. The other says download the Purple Sex Reflection Deck How-To brochure. It's just
So,
like getting the newsletter updates. You just put in your email address and it should send you an email to do the thing to get the thing, which you won't be on there twice. So,
okay, so I'll dig a little deeper. Now, I did tell him not that I wasn't going to accept cookies, and maybe that kept me from doing that. But I'm not even seeing those as an option. So, okay,
really? I'm
yeah,
not logged in and the buttons are there on the Purple Sex Cards URL.
very interesting. Okay, like I said,
Are you
I'll
using
coordinate.
Chrome?
Yes. Are you kidding? You would reach through the holes in the phone and smack me if I wasn't.
Possibly.
Okay, well, thank you, Ramon, for being here
Okay,
today. And thank you for sharing the information that you did and how this is
sure.
affecting your personal life and the people that you're reaching out to help theirs. And I'm just touched by that. So I really appreciate it. And I want to thank Angel and Alex, and I see we have a new person, Sue Joy, in here, for being here to listen to this process. I wanted to tell you, um, Misha, I'm gonna give you a last summation, and then I'm gonna tell you what I'm planning for next week.
I I don't have a summation. I like having these cards in my currently hot little hands and I like how they feel and I like flipping through them and seeing the different things and see what that makes me feel. So,
Excellent. Well, I love that too. So, what we're going to talk about next week. So 2023 is rolling forward here, and I'm trying to get everything lined up for the different things that I'm going to be doing. And some of you may know that I'll be meeting the CEO of the Moan app in December when I go to Austin. And so I'm excited to be able to spend time with Kale. And I have been working because he's going to be doing an RSS feed for the Moan app. But right now, recording is available on Android. So he and I have been having conversations back and forth, and I think starting in January that I'm going to set up a weekly time there to do an hour event like I've been doing with the sexuality space. But the focus of that, I think I'm going to call it Purple Sex and Erotic Whims, because in that direction, I can talk about any of the things that relate to the holistic nature of sexuality, and I can also include the erotic writing and editing as part of conversation, including even some reading of some work. So that's the idea for where I'm going to go, and that's what I'm going to be talking about, because I'd be curious to see, is this an app that you are using that's sexuality specific, and how do you think those ideas will come across on that particular platform? Anything else, Mish?
I just shuffled through the deck and I explore my body to discover what gives me sexual pleasure.
I love it. And that's what a great way to end the space on the reflection deck. I absolutely love it. Again, I want to thank all of you for supporting me on this journey and being here in the process of learning all about sex ed, sex positive, body positivity, the whole 9 yards. This is where we've been doing this for a while now, so I'm really excited about that. And I will be off making that cranberry event for the food tomorrow. And I look forward to hearing you back here next week, Wednesday, noon Eastern time, where we'll be talking about purple sex and erotic whims. Y'all have a great day. If you celebrate the holiday, enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.